Now I'm going to go up the neck just a little bit here. I'm going to go to the next position so you can get out of this first position, and I'm going to play out of this, and then I'm going to explain why each position has certain advantages, and you can work on this over the months you're working. So here we go, 3, 4. Now, what would the advantages be perhaps in each of these positions as we go? The first position, I can see each of the chords and the arps sketch around them, so the one that really lands nicely here is the F. I can see if I'm playing open string, I can... And of course you want to kind of roll through those. A lot of people play arps, they just figure, well, just grab the chord and just go. That's not what we're trying to do. We're kind of rolling over. That kind of thing, and that's not an arp note, by the way. I'm sorry, I blew it there. You can even play that A closed, and when I went up here, you kind of get choked off a bit on the F, the underlying chord, and if you see the chord, it helps. So there's all sorts of different shapes that present themselves, but the one, when I go up here, that really jumps out is the G7. I got all sorts of possibilities. So each position lends itself to advantages on each chord, and when you're improvising, suddenly you get that moment of an F is coming up, and if you see something, you're right in the pocket with it, or I can bend or something, or so I can see that. So just on my own, if I'm playing C, I see all the things that emanate from that cowboy shape, as we call it. You can see double stops, or certainly those things factor, but just in terms of scales that we're talking about, what I'm concerned about is where are my safe notes, and I just kind of let my mind free flow of ideas, and I kind of casually have a target in mind. So then when the next chord comes up, I don't particularly like this position for A minor. The best one that I can get is, or maybe something like this. It's really crappy. So the next A minor that's of any use to us is right here. So that means I need to go to the 5th position. So let's do the same thing again, and I will do C scale out of this position with a stretch at on the 4th string. Here I go, 3, 4. So that's me just noodling, but being target conscious of what's underlying each chord. So as I'm seeing C chord there, I'm seeing a C chord like this, a G chord type shape, like that, and I'm just kind of... Then when the A minor came, as I was just drawing a parallel to, that looks really strong. Very nice place for A minor. And for F, it's very nice too, because you got that bar C chord shape, if you can see that in the camera there. And then G7, sorry, looks like this, like a baby D7 at that point. So you have... So if I did the arps there just by myself without you playing, it would look... And then A minor. So quite often I'll advise you guys to practice them. One chord going up, the other one coming back. So you do C going up, and then A minor going backwards, then F going up. And you run out of notes. It feels like you want to go one more, but you can just zigzag a little bit. And then your G7 going backwards. do that in every position. But as you're doing that, you begin to notice where the best intersects are for each chord as it goes by. So when I did C, if I do a little bit of scale, and at that moment the A minor falls, I want to get that next best note. So I see that in there. That's the note that I'm dying to hear right there, because you can see the F chord there, and I see that in there. And then the G7 is coming, and I can either go back there and get that, it cries out for that note, or you can get it here. So these positions that I just did here, the open one and the third position, second or third, however you want to think of it, or the fifth, contain enough variety for each chord that you can play out of each of those chords with some assurance that there's a safe note, but don't play it too safely. Just kind of get a scale going, and if the chord of the moment is F, you're safe. If I go and it's a G7, you're safe, because it's in there. But if it's a C and I go, maybe not, unless you go. See, so sometimes, or something, maybe you can come off that and do a trill. Okay, so those are the questions that are posed by diatonic theory. Get in the pocket, understand the arps of each chord, go up on one, back on the other one, in a sequence, playing along with yourself if you lay down a dummy track, and then play your scales, your scale, which in this case would just be a C scale, covers you fine, but use the ARP science to get the target note for the best stopping point at every moment. Any questions about that up to this point?
That's awesome.
Okay, good. So let's modify it one more way, and I want to show you what the next challenge is going to be down the road. That'll be enough to chew on. You can do that in all keys, and you could take that all the way up the neck.